Being resourceful is the number one common trait amongst the most successful people. And that's according to Tony Robbins. What's up, everybody? DJ Quarles.
Bob Safaya.
Today we're going to be talking about resources, resourcefulness. So like Bob, I guess if we want to get off the top first, what is being resourceful? Like, what is that when you hear somebody or you say, if you describe someone as a resourceful person, like what would that sound like? What would you say about that person?
I would say they don't necessarily know the answers to everything, but if I asked them, if they didn't know, they'd be able to find it. They'd be able to come up with a solution.
Yeah.
As opposed to having an answer that's not right.
Yeah. Makes me think about that too. It's like that the story of we were talking before, and it was Andrew Carnegie about how he was being interviewed by the jury at one time, and they were just asking him questions that were completely, I think they were trying to prove that he wasn't as smart as he was. Yeah. And they were asking him questions that were just completely off the subject. And he's like, pause for a second. You guys are asking me questions in a variety of different topics that I don't need to clog my brain with. In my office, I have pressed the click of a button, and I have the smartest people in the world that come into my office and can answer all of these questions. So why do I need to know the answer to them?
Yeah, bringing it to street level. I mean, back down where we hang out. Like I see it with agents all the time.
Yeah. What would you say, or as an agent, what would you say?
I think a lot of people want to prove that they're smart. Uh-huh. So they want to prove that they're smart. And where I picked it up the first time is I was probably like 20 years old, 21 maybe. Mm-hmm. I tried my hand at car sales at my uncle's car lot. And I was so nervous that I didn't know how an engine worked or how a spark plug worked or like really the basics of a motor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how am I going to sell a car? If somebody asks me how many horsepower it has, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? But I think it was my uncle that said to me, like, you don't need to know the answer. You just need to know how to find it. Mm. And people appreciate that more than giving them the wrong answer. Mm. But fast forward to where we are today and, working with so many new agents, that's our thing, is like helping new agents learn how to be top agents, right?
Or even take an experienced agent who's been working by themselves for so long. You're never really working by yourself. You always have a team.
That's right. And I think that is probably the thing that I hang at the space I hang out in the most, is because everybody feels like they need to know the answer to something. Mm-hmm. But I've sold thousands of houses. Mm-hmm. And even if I know the answer sometimes, I tell you, well, let me just check on this real quick.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can see where someone that's new to the business, or maybe not new, is climbing the ranks of the business and they want to show that they're smart. It's just not the way to do it. Yeah. Knowing the answer is not the way to show that you're smart.
Yeah.
So, and staying right on that topic, I feel like that's probably one of the biggest advantages of hanging out with me.
Well, while we're right here, right? While we're on the space of a newer agent, or we're on the space of real estate agents in general, what would you say are some of the top resources? Every real estate agent, if you're in the real estate business, real estate, let's keep it there. If you're in the real estate business, whether you're new or experienced, what would you say the top resources that you need are that can help you?
I think that on the day-to-day, it's looking at questions you get, the same questions get asked every day.
Yeah. Just in a different way.
In a different way. It's always the same questions, and it's always the same things that, like, what are the interest rates?
Right.
You're not going to catch me in that trap.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere close to that.
Yeah.
That's having a resource, so Eric Kimball, he's a special resource to me because he's more than just a mortgage resource to me. Like, I get advice on everything except women from him.
Yeah.
But he's one of those people that knows the answer, or he checks his resources. But he's a great piece of my resources.
So for every real estate agent, though, you're saying a mortgage lender, someone, your lender partner,
Yeah.
Whether it's one or multiple, but your lender partners are a must.
Yeah.
Having solid ones. Because I can count, I couldn't count on my hands and feet how many deals Eric has either helped us avoid or helped push through when someone else wasn't able to push through. And the ones that he's helped avoid they're probably even bigger than the ones that he's helped push through, rather than someone else says that, or if they get denied and then someone else approves them.
Yeah.
Rather than, then you find out 3 months into the deal, 2 months into the deal that person's no longer approved anymore. Eric's like, hey, I told you guys, I told you this 2-3 months ago.
Yeah, I think I had this aha moment last Friday, working through a deal. So I've started putting my hands back in the production of buyers. I put a couple buyers under contract, a couple listings, right, which I hadn't done in a couple years. But one thing I learned real quick, this is my aha from last Friday, is that, it's always we're always trying to figure out, well, it's not that, it's we know the benefits of working with Eric. Right?
Yeah.
You and I both know the benefits, how he's saved our ass, and he's helped us get stuff closed that shouldn't have been closed, right?
Right.
But it's that importance that we put on that relationship, and we're able to relay that to our clients to avoid something going wrong.
Yeah.
But the thing that hit me in my head the other night is because I was like, why? It seems like every time we get new people to the team or new agents to the team or agents that are successful, they don't put as much priority in that relationship. But I'll say from the agents on our team is that they don't normally have to deal with the hiccups that happen working with other companies.
Yeah.
Right? So that, it just hit me all of a sudden. I'm like, why is it such a challenge? Why are the agents not a big deal to get them over to the lender? They don't really make a big deal out of it. It's not like, oh, well, these people didn't want to go with, it's just nonchalant. It's because they haven't been in that moment.
Yeah, when you went through it, when it's one of those lessons that it's easier, I guess you got to learn sometimes you got to learn the hard way. You don't want to have to learn the hard way.
It's part of being resourceful is not learning the hard way, learning from somebody else that's already failed and done it before you. That's the whole point. That's what resources do for you. They're like a shortcut.
Fast track. Yeah.
Fast track.
We'll swing back around to being resourceful and resources all around. But, to stay where we're at, a real estate agent, someone, real estate agent, resources that you must have. Your mortgage partner, your lender partner, right? What's another?
Closing attorney or an attorney.
That's a big one.
I think that's a big one. Someone that appreciates your business and someone that's another thing that hit me in the head the other day when Aaron Marsh said to us, and I was partners in another title company. We've been doing thousands of transactions. So people have pursued us for our business. But he said something to me the other day that was really, really, really cool. It was just how much he appreciated working with us as opposed to other real estate agents that don't have assistants. The contact rate and being able, and I never really thought about it at that level. Yeah. Not only are they a great resource for us, we're a great resource for them because we're great to do business with.
Yeah.
So as much as I think about our business, I never really thought about it like that. People, we're great to work with.
Yeah, yeah. What about so you got a mortgage lender, got a closing attorney, title company. What else?
Daryl Muncie.
What's that? Who is that?
He's an appraiser.
Yes.
He's an appraiser and a chef. Makes some really good food.
Yeah.
But I called him the other day because we had a deal that wasn't closing, or it was a house the guy sold in Berea and was moving to London, and there was a gap between the timeline. But I didn't call him I just called him to pick his brain. Look, I'm in this situation. The seller's not moving, the buyers aren't moving. What do I do?
Yeah, talk through this with me.
Just talk through it with me.
Talk through this with me. That's one of the biggest things for whether it's all of the people that you trust as a resource. It's not always because you don't know the answer. Sometimes just having a conversation out loud and having a different perspective presented can change everything. Sometimes you're just missing something. You're seeing right here, and then just a little outside of that box could be the answer that you were looking for.
Yeah.
Somebody looking at it we always say it, with somebody looking from an eagle's eye view that's not in it, somebody that can look at it.
Yeah. And I think about I think about him a lot because I feel like he always provides me value. Thinking about resources, how these companies, like you say, a mortgage partner, like companies approach us to get our business. Not in the sense that they're using us as a resource or they want to be a resource for us, right? So it's real easy to see that relationship with Eric and us. We send him a lot of business. Aaron Marsh, we send him a lot of business. We don't send him as much business, but he's always available.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you pour value into that relationship? Like, those are the ones that are a little trickier. Yeah. Like, how do you get people to they're not really a resource if they avoid your calls.
Yeah, every time I think about it's like a bank. It's like the bank.
Yeah.
Every relationship, I'm always thinking about how can I deposit? How can I deposit? I have my relationships. I know which ones are at the top. Like everybody is important. People are important. Just thinking about it as from the sense of a deposit. From a bank, the bank system. Your balance. Are you going into a relationship? Like, where do you stand? Are you overdrawing your account? Or are you making so many deposits that when it comes time to make a withdrawal, you've got the capital, you've got the relationship capital there to make the withdrawal. So many times people come in and make a withdrawal with no balance in the account. They have nothing they've made no deposits before they come and make a withdrawal.
And some relationships are set up that way.
Yeah,
I feel like some are set up that way, and I feel like you have to put. Like, I think that's a really important factor. I mean, when you're doing the amount of business that we do, like, it's easy for people that we work with to find value in our relationship because we're sending them business.
Yeah.
Like, but that's not really value in a relationship. That still doesn't get them to answer your phone every time you call. Well, maybe it does.
Yeah.
But I think that's a big one. Like, thinking about it like that, like the balance sheet, like,
also
to create resources.
With that though, like to get there, is it every time you're calling someone, is it about business? I know a lot of times when I talk to any of my resources, there's times I will just call to check in.
Yeah.
Just like, what's up? And that's a deposit. Just talking to them about their personal life. Because if we're going to be doing business together, I want to be doing business with people that are in alignment with my values. Yeah. I want to know them. I don't want it to. Sometimes there are just business relationships where you just have a strictly business relationship. But if these are resources that you're gonna phone for other things just outside of business, or that you're even gonna phone frequently,
right?
It creates that stickiness and that tightness in the relationship.
Yeah, it's good to think about it.
Yeah,
it's good to think about what you're giving to other people. Mm-hmm. But I also think about people that don't answer my calls. I have a place in my life. I've hit this place in my life that it's like people that I know, they don't call me back. I don't call again. Like, I feel like I make a lot of deposits. I make a lot of deposits with people. People I do business with, I can point thumbs too. Like, maybe I'm not making enough deposits. But that's always been a thing for me.
Yeah.
People answer my phones.
Yeah.
Call my sisters, call my mom, I call everyone in my family, nobody answers my call. I'm like, well, I'm not treating them right.
Yeah. So back to the real estate agent. Then we take it on. We can have conversations for days about being resourceful and resources. Like, real quick, rattle off the others. You got a lender, you got a title company, you got an appraiser. Contractors.
Yeah, you need to have contractors. Like, that's a tough one. That's a tough one to get good relationships with contractors, because the ones that are good are busy. It's facts. They got more work than. But I mean, that becomes one of those things where it's like, how do you create more deposits than withdrawals with a contractor? Sometimes, like, especially when you're in these transactions with repair requests, and these aren't big ticket like jobs that they're doing all these little small jobs, and I guess maybe the profit margin might be a little higher, but getting off a big job to go do a small job, you got to find some balance there, and you got to find some people that are committed to help you, whether it's through, I think a mistake is getting, of course you want people that are doing your people, that's how I always present my resources to clients, is just that these people want to do right by me because I send them business. Yeah. So you automatically have a layer of trust that I've built over the years, right? But it's a slippery slope, because if somebody doesn't call and then you got somebody else, you get two contractors been the same thing or whatever, you can get rid of contractors really fast that way.
Yeah. Yeah, contractors are another big one. Any others that you can think of?
Broker.
The broker.
That's huge. We got two really good brokers.
We got two really good brokers here.
I mean, I really, really like the brokers we have.
What else?
What else?
What about a coach?
Yeah.
What about a coach?
Yeah, right now I'm on a break from a coach.
You know, somebody that's done because there's always, I mean, success leaves clues. Yeah. There's patterns to success, and somebody that's already done what you're looking to do, that can help you get there faster with a lot less headache and stress.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Like a coach is a great resource.
Yeah.
I think about you. You know, I call you even when I know the answer. A lot of times, I call you still, looking for perspective.
Yeah.
Right, looking for perspective. Like, what am I missing here? Am I missing something? It could be something that's already done.
Yeah.
It's about to be done, and again, the answer's known. You know the way forward, and oftentimes it's just talking through it out loud. Just getting
reassured that you have the right answer.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a lot of times what it comes down to is having somebody that you can call just to run that stuff by before you put something in play. Like we've saw it a couple times this week with agents.
Yeah. Yes, we have.
Putting stuff in play, they thought they had the answer. One of the most valuable resources they have are yourself, me, the team. We have, in our layer of resources. Until people have their own resources, our resources are the resources of the people around us.
Yeah.
So it's leveraging, when I call you for something, that's what I'm doing, is leveraging your resources, you're leveraging mine. That's what we do. But there's tons of value in that. Tons of value in it.
Getting in a resource, and those are really big ones for a real estate agent to have. We've covered the mortgage lender, your title company, your title attorney, your appraiser, your contractors. We said a coach, and there was one more. It's okay. It's okay. That's 6 or 7 right there that are really good resources. If you're a new agent, you want to have those resources that you can talk through, somebody that can help you avoid some of the same mistakes that they have.
If you think about it in a way, if you don't have any business to offer them, what could you do for someone? What could you do for someone to make a deposit in that account before you have the business?
That's really good.
Before you have the business, because it's like setting people up to say, okay, well, you need to go out and get these resources, but if you don't have any business and you don't have any, sometimes setting things up before it's time is the wrong timing.
Man, really, I got a great example of this right here. Okay. Somebody on a personal level, right? So it was an agent that was coming into our world. And what I don't even know what their side of it was, right? But one of the things that they did was before we had, early on in the relationship, they were like, hey, I know you've got multiple kids. Here are 3 people from the circle that we're in, which it comes in a highly trusted area. He said, here's 3 people that could babysit for you guys if you ever need a babysitter. Right?
Wow.
Right? And from that person in the community that we're in, that it came from, instant trust, instant value add that they offered 3 babysitters like that.
Didn't have to have anything to do with business.
Man, I don't know what if it was just... Because
that was intentional.
It was very intentional. But they found out it wasn't something that they could do to help me in my business. My business is already going really good. And they didn't, at that time, they were just coming in. There wasn't too many things that they could do to the business, but they added a deposit to my life.
I love that.
They added a deposit to my life by offering, by getting to know me and knowing me well enough to know that we do have 3 young kids and that it is, a challenge sometimes to find someone that can manage.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was a huge,
so it's thinking about
deposit.
So I think that's really good. That's a really good thought is and sometimes we get so transactional we forget about the fact that we hold other values, we hold other pieces of other things that other people need.
Yes.
We hold them, and if we're not thinking about what other people need, the transactional part is about what we need.
Every time.
It's about what we need to get a deal done or to structure something or to get a better plan. It's what do other people need that we already have? that don't have anything to do with what they do for us.
It's really good because it's like you can learn something from everyone.
Man,
I heard that recently. They said you could he said go out and give it to the world because somebody out there needs what you have on the inside of you. I was like, wow, that's really, really good.
That's really good.
Really,
so
really
you're
good.
talking about Pastor Steph. She's a big resource for you.
Oh, both of my pastors are a big resource to me. You know, whether it be on spiritual or it's just in general. Pastor Steph is like has a spot here.
You always say that.
I always say that she has a spot here, and our communications. It's not like I'm talking to her every day or every other day or even every week.
Yeah.
But when we communicate with one another, like there's times where she'll ask me for a book, I'll ask her for a book. Like yesterday, I was going through some of my resources, like I need something good to read right now, and I wanted to get it from different places, and then I was like, Pastor Steph, gotta ask her. And she sent me like 5 to 7. She sent me 7 books, and I had read only 2 out of the 7. So I was like, wow, that's awesome. But yeah, just having those.
The reason why I didn't respond to your
text.
text message is because of what it said.
I know. I asked you. I left it in a. I don't
Yeah.
think this is the place for that.
Oh, why not?
I mean, we can
You
talk
asked
about
me
it
about the
another
book.
time. We can talk about it another time. We're talking about resources right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, you asked me for a book, and then you just bragged up what another resource did for you with the book. She sent you 6 books, but you said to me that I didn't have to answer the question right now. You said,
Yeah, I told you that because it was later in the day.
That's all I'm saying.
It was later in the day, and I was like, hey, just think about it between now and tomorrow.
But if you would have left the last sentence out, most likely I would have put it out right then.
You would have responded.
But you gave me a pass. You're like, oh, just
talk about it tomorrow. Like it's not like I need it right at this very moment. Like let's talk about it tomorrow. And I know we don't our text. And another way is knowing how your resources communicate.
Yeah.
Knowing how your resources communicate.
Yeah.
You and I do not text like that. It's a 5-word. Like if you look at our text thread, it's 5 words max in each one. If it goes longer than 5 words, like so I have somebody that text is the way to communicate with them. Others that sending a quick voice message is the way to communicate with them.
Yeah.
Others is straight phone call. That's the way to get a hold of you, is to give you a straight phone call.
Yep.
Knowing how to communicate with the resources is really big.
So that's good. So knowing what. So there's a couple things that I've picked up so far. Is knowing what other people need, like something that you have to offer that doesn't have anything to do with what you need. What they need.
How can you be a resource to someone else?
How can you be the resource to someone else? And I feel like I do that. Like I feel like I'm that, like without the intention. Like I know that I sometimes I'm not good about it, but at least I know that I'm conscious of it. Like I'm conscious of when I don't deposit as much as I withdraw.
It's funny too, because like what do they call it? The law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity, like people feel not obligated is not the word, but for lack of a better word, I'm going to say obligated. People feel more obligated to do something in return once you've done something for them. So it's like the law of reciprocity, not what's in it for me, is how can I genuinely help this other person better their life or better something that they have.
And I feel like, speaking for myself, a lot of times my heart is there.
Yeah.
My heart is there. I would do anything for anyone. I would give the shirt off my back. But I don't communicate that to people.
Sometimes he's saying sometimes make it be known. Like make it be known.
Make it be known that you're willing to help people with what they need. Not a general blanket statement. Oh, I'll help anybody that will accept my help.
Yeah.
No. But like understanding what people need and what they want and saying it out loud that you're willing to help them with it. That was one thing, and then the way that people communicate, I think that was another big piece of it. Is if you're going to make deposits with people, figure out the best way to communicate with them. Because some banks you can pull in and make a deposit. Some of them are online. Some of them are, some of you make the deposit on a check on the phone.
Yeah, that's really, really good.
So it's figuring out how to make the deposit so that it's going to have the most impact, and figuring out what the currency is, right?
What the currency is. That's good.
What else?
So like tying that into, Tony Robbins, that's a powerful statement, saying that it's the number one common trait, the number one shared trait between the most successful people that Tony Robbins has talked to. Like, what does that make you think about just with resourcefulness?
I think it has, I'll back it up a little bit, because I think the resourcefulness comes out of awareness. Like, I think to be resourceful, you have to be aware. Like, you have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to be aware of the opportunities, and you have to be aware of who you want to be around and who you want to be. Who is it? Who's the top choice for the resource in each area of your life? Like the place where, you know, this is the question that you have about this. Who is the very best resource you could possibly have?
Yeah.
But then being aware of what the opportunity is to make deposits and how they like to communicate and how they prefer for the deposits to be made.
It's really, really good right there. I just wrote that down.
Really good.
I just wrote that down. Resourcefulness requires awareness. Resourcefulness requires awareness.
I think that piece of it, it's like, we're always in this. I mean, as a leader, when you have people around you, and it's like, you and I talk about this all the time. It's it's hard to understand how some people think, right? Like, or how to understand what's going on in their head, or what. But I'll take it back to this one thing, is like, what I've noticed is the difference in people's ability to spot opportunities. And the same thing is the awareness, right?
Yeah.
To spot the opportunity. And I'm not saying the opportunity for yourself to win, but the opportunity on how to help someone or how to create an impact that is helpful. Like that awareness of the opportunity to contribute to someone's, or to deposit into someone's account.
Yeah.
You got to have that's the piece that just don't see with every person. And I don't know if that's something that can be trained, because I feel like almost to a certain extent, like we beat our head against the wall trying to help people spot opportunities like we do. And to say some people have it and some people don't, I don't know if that's the right thing to say.
It's like sometimes you're required to be resourceful, and sometimes you have to be resourceful, you have to be willing to be a resource as well.
Yes.
To be for you to be resourceful and go seek a resource, you've got to be willing to be a resource for someone else. It makes me think about something I heard again recently. Who said it? I don't remember. They said that in order for you, like, you have to continually pour from your cup into others so that you have room to continue to fill your cup.
Yes.
To fill your cup, you got to continue to pour into others so that you have room to refill your cup.
Yes.
Like, and it was like, I just love the analogy and the visual of that right there.
Yeah.
So in order for you to be resourceful,
you have to be the resource.
You have to be willing and open and to be the resource to someone else.
Yeah,
that's really,
great.
really good. Yeah.
That's great. Man, what else? That's
a
really
good. Being resourceful. Like, how do you? Oh, okay. How would someone improve their resourcefulness? Or I don't even know if that's the way to word that question, but do you see where I'm coming at? How do you improve your skill of being resourceful?
I think it's by improving the resources, like
leveling up your resources.
Yeah, and not to say like some people. Let's just take it in the realm of social media.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So one thing I learned about Eric really quick in our relationship is that he's horrible with social media. Like, literally logs on maybe once every 3 months and just stalks people and doesn't like anything and doesn't comment anything, right?
Ninja.
He's like a social media ninja, right? I mean, but he's so good at what he does in the mortgage business, right? He's so good. He's so good at talking to people. He's so good.
Spotting opportunities.
Yes.
Talking, like communicating people, like just everything. He's really, really good at what he does.
Yes. So when I think about, like, when you say lender partner, or being in a relationship and like having great resources, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I think about when I talk about other resources or talk about adding resources to our world is not trying to find people we have to teach how to do social media to, like, or not that we know how to do it, but it's like they may be really good at one thing, but at the other thing somebody is just way better.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take away from this piece, but then it's like, how many resources can you allow really true partner resources, people that you're plugged into, they're plugged into your business, you're plugged into theirs, and they're all in, you're all in. How can you be all in with more than one person?
Two thoughts on that right there is like some of my resources I think about, like, man, some of my resources, like, I haven't talked to in months, but they call me, I call them, and it's just like, just boom, right back on the bike riding. Right back to it. Don't have to talk every single day. Another one is improving yourself in personal development so that when the opportunity to level up your resource group, to level up the people that you surround yourself with presents itself, you're, I don't want to say qualified, and at the same time, like, you're prepared for it. Self-improvement. Because I think about one of my relationships, right? And I think about a lot of the times that, being in the right room at the right time. Like, you can be in the right room and you not be prepared and you miss out on the opportunity because you haven't developed yourself and you're not focused on personal development to not fit, but to be prepared for that conversation. Like, personally developing yourself.
Like, to be the desired person the people want to talk to. Like,
to be the person.
I'm not really like a hunter. Like, when it comes to gaining new resources, I'm not really out like begging people. I don't really want any more friends.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want, not to say that I don't want more friends, but I'm not looking to socialize with people.
Yeah.
But I am.
The resources and the opportunities, like when you're in the right place, they present themselves because you're prepared. Yeah. And they see you as someone that's resourceful.
Right.
They see you as someone that's resourceful and they can be a resource to them.
Yes. So that's a big one, man. I think being, that's been a major focus. Like, through all the questions of what needs to happen next, what are we going to do, where are we going to go, how are we going to get more leads, what are we going to, all these things have been running through our heads since COVID hit, and all the differences in business. It's just taking that focus back to yourself.
Personal development too.
Taking it back to yourself, right? And learning to be a better resource for other people.
Mm-hmm. How can I show up better every single day?
How can I show up better every day? How can I show up as someone that is a great resource?
Mm.
It's really good. It's really good. It's really good.
Go out and be resourceful. Work on being resourceful. Focus on being resourceful. And if you don't know how to be resourceful, LTFG.
Yeah. Well, two things. Remember, the two things that, I learned today, right, is one, being aware of whether you're making deposits or you're doing withdrawals all the time. Like that. And then learning how to communicate with your resources in the way they want to be communicated with. I think that's a really good start. Figuring out what you can do for them. It doesn't have to be business. It could be, like DJ said, the agent that started and came to him and said, I know 3 people that could babysit. I know you have 3 kids, and I have some friends that would babysit. Like that, not one transaction, and was able to come put that together and then become a resource.
I love it. I mean, for me, a big takeaway is, adding on to those, because those are 2 big takeaways, is continuing the journey of personal development yourself and growing yourself, because it's one of the 6 human needs too. Yeah. Growing yourself, and 6 human needs. You got certainty, uncertainty, variety, love and connection, significance, and then on the spiritual level is growth and contribution. Right? So everybody wants to feel significance at some level. Yeah. Significant, and everybody wants to grow. So growing yourself, and this is a really big one for me to add to those 2.
I'm in the process of shrinking myself. I'm growing, so I'm shrinking. Anyway, it's good.
Shrinking body mass, right? Yeah. Body mass.
All right, till next time. Make sure you guys are making some comment, please, or like something maybe.
Share it.
Let us know what you think. If you want us to do something different, you got a topic you want us to talk about, make sure you subscribe to the channel too.
If you want to be on the show too, if you want to be here, like sitting in the middle, don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to have, we're always looking for new resources.
That's right.